Okay, so last thing here, closely related to the cell cycle in mitosis, is the idea of cancer. Now, cancer, at the simplest, is simply just uncontrolled cell growth. Okay? So what happens is these oncogenes, an oncologist studies cancer, so these are cancer kind of genes or genes related with cancer. Um, they have the potential to lead to cancer if they become mutated. So there's kind of a couple of ideas here. So one is proto-oncogenes. So these are genes that stimulate growth, that stimulate cell growth, and the cell cycle. Okay? So you can imagine these are kind of proto because if they mutate for some reason, maybe by a mutagen or something like that, um, or an error in division, that regulation can lead to the overstimulation of cell growth, the overstimulation of the cell cycle, and lead to cancer. The second kind of genes is what we call tumor suppressor genes. So these are they basically limit the cell cycle and can promote what we call apoptosis, which is cell death. Okay, so if these particular genes are mutated or perhaps and they don't work, then you don't have any regulations on the cell cycle. You can't prevent apoptosis of damaged cells, and those cells can continue to grow uncontrolled and leads to cancer. Okay, so what exactly is cancer? Well, it looks like this. So you have a cell here that mutates. Okay, so one of these genes might have been damaged somehow, so that cell is now free to divide as much as it wants, um, and this can lead to cancer. Okay, so this develops into what we call a primary tumor, and this is a mass of cells, of cancerous cells that are dividing uncontrollably. Right? You can see they're dividing a lot faster than normal cells. Um, and then what those cancer cells have the ability to do, and this is a fruitful area of research for cancer treatment, um, is they start to develop blood vessels, right? And that kind of makes sense because they need those nutrients to continue to grow. Okay, so one promising cancer treatment is you prevent vascularization of these cancer cells. So if they can't get those blood vessels and capillaries to grow, then that tumor shrinks. It can't ever get bigger than a certain part. Okay? Now, ideally, hopefully, if you have cancer, it's caught somewhere in here. Okay? Um, because at this point, the cancer metastasizes. So what happens is the cells of those cancer of that tumor break off, and they can travel to other parts of the body. Okay, um, so you can imagine this might be lung cancer. Okay, and then all of a sudden it travels to other parts of the brain, and now you were talking about maybe brain cancer or or pancreatic cancer, something like that. This can happen with them. Um, and at this point, the prognosis generally isn't good. Once that cancer is spread, there's not a lot that can be done. It's pretty you don't have long to live in most cases. Again, it depends on the cancer. Every cancer is unique, and it responds to different things. But that's basically how cancer is, and you can see how it relates to the cell cycle because we can go back to the idea of these cyclins and these checkpoints. And if one of these checkpoints breaks down, then that that control isn't there anymore, and that can lead to to cancer. Okay? So I hope that kind of explains that. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank